on this episode of the People of Pearland Podcast.
Oh, man, this conversation took some turns.
Yeah, it did.
This is one of my favorite ones so far. You, sir, are a fascinating individual.
A lot of interests, a lot of varied interests.
Stay tuned for more.
Hey.
I wanted to see how long it would take. Oh, that was fun. That was Kathleen Pade, everybody.
Howdy. Or meowdy.
Meowdy. You've heard her before. She was on an episode. But now, she is co-hosting.
Whoa,
What?
I'm here.
Amazing.
Joe's somewhere else.
Joe
Not all in
is-
the room.
He's moved on up to producer, at least for this episode. So, we're just switching it up around here. Welcome, everybody, to the People of Pearland. I'm your host, Josh Lee, and I'm not the only Josh in here today. We have our guest, Josh. Do you go by Josh or Joshua?
I go by Josh.
Josh Kraft from Animal Services. What's the technical name of the division? Is it?
City of Pearland Police Department Animal Services.
Got it. Okay, cool. And you are the manager of our Animal Control and Adoption Center, or Animal...
The Sherry D. Coleman Adoption and Animal Shelter.
There it is.
Yeah.
Adoption and Animal Shelter. So adoption goes first in it. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Animal Shelter and Adoption Center.
Center.
Animal
Yeah.
Shelter and Adoption Center. There's
Animal,
a lot of...
Animal Adoption and Shelter Center?
Yeah. I think that'll do it.
No, I don't think that's
On a Google search, any two words from that name and we'll come up. It'll line us up.
awesome.
Cool.
I'm trying to think of all the other Joshes that I know in the city, and I don't know. It might just be the. Well, no. There's a police officer. I'm blanking on his name. No, Josh. I don't know. There's at least 4 Joshes in the city, so that's pretty cool. Are you named after the biblical Josh, like the Battle of Jericho? Or...
Yes.
Same.
Yeah.
Wow, what's your middle name?
Alan.
Not David.
Yeah, mine's David. I got 2 biblical names and then a not one, so had to go that direction. All right. Good
Cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what you do here.
So as the manager, kind of oversee day-to-day operations, delegate certain tasks to the supervisors to work with the line level staff on things, day-to-day functions, servicing the public, whether it's the front counter, in the field, calls for service, assisting police officers and fire with anything they may need animal related when they're out on calls for service. Taking care of all the animals in the shelters is ongoing throughout the day, whether it's medications being passed out for animals that might be sick or need something, or just general cleaning, socializing, getting photo collages, and whatnot to promote them for adoption.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then on top of the day-to-day stuff, there's all the grand overview. What direction do we want to go? How do we want to improve community engagement? Do we have events planned? What events can we plan? What do we want to participate in, the animal services community in general, when it comes to large-scale events that are multi-agency?
How long have you worked in animal control?
So going on 5 years at this point.
Okay. All here at the city or what?
So I've been here for just over a year. Prior to that, I worked at Harris County Veterinary Public Health, which is animal control there,
Gotcha.
for just under 3.5 years.
That's awesome. And so, well, you probably came in, I guess we had been in the new Sherry D. Coleman Center for a little while.
Correct,
When you
yes.
came here.
January, I believe 21st will be the official 2-year
Official 2-year, yeah.
for that new
And
building.
Fantastic facility. For those listeners out there, if you haven't had a chance to go, highly recommend it. A very nice facility. Great way to see all of the animals that we have up for adoption. And not all dogs and cats, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
all get all. I heard at one point you all had some, I think it was goats that you were taking care of. Or
We
something
just
like
had a goat about 3 weeks ago
So
that was
we're-
found running loose.
Oh, okay, so it was just like out and about, and
Yep.
y'all go and you get a call, and you go and pick it up and
Correct, yes.
try to reconnect it with its owner, or
Yeah, so we'll get its picture. We'll post it on Facebook. We have a database in our computer system of livestock owners in the city too, so that if things happen, a fence breaks, the wind blows something down, something gets trampled or fence posts get tired and start to sag. Animals can get loose livestock wise. And so we have a pretty extensive list of livestock owners that we know of in the city. And first things first, we'll look at the street, what kind of animal it is, see if we can match it up to the description in the computer and start calling, see if we can get it home as quick as possible. But we'll also get its photo, post it on our Facebook for everyone to see that follows us.
How much different is it catching a goat than a dog? Is it like...
It's an adventure.
Yeah.
Depending on how friendly they are. Sometimes you get lucky and you can just shake a bucket with some food and they'll come right up to you. And other times it's like 5 people running through forest and trying to figure out how to corner them, and lassos are involved from time to time.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Do they... Sorry, excuse me. Allergies.
Me too.
Do you train on animal catching, or is it just a like field experience? You're like,
it's
whoa,
sort
I gotta
of
catch
on
this
the
thing?
job when it comes to the actual animals. We put a large emphasis on identifying and being familiar with animal behavior when it comes to dogs and cats.
Oh,
and then a lot
fascinating.
of the livestock, because it's not something that we have in the shelter necessarily all the time to work with and learn from, a lot of it is as we go. Or if someone has FFA or 4-H experience when they were younger, they're obviously going to be familiar with livestock and more capable of handling it.
So obviously you get a wide variety of dogs and cats and things like that. Has there been have you had an animal that just like your favorite animal of all time that just came in? Like, do you have any that stick out to you?
One of my personal favorites was a large tabby named Cutie Pie. He was a cat, and he was super, super sweet. And he had a persistent upper respiratory infection, and multiple vets assessed him, tried to figure out what was going on. And it turned out he had some issues with his teeth. So we have multiple donation funds when people donate to the shelter and the facilities. One of those donation funds is a medical donation fund. So if we have an animal that someone's interested in adopting and it needs some sort of care or procedure that's above and beyond the standard vet care that we provide on a regular basis, we can go into that fund and facilitate that for that animal and the adopter. So we were able to utilize funds from the medical donation to get the extraction that he needed and be able to finalize an adoption in a loving home for him.
Man, that's awesome.
He comes back and visits us every once in a while. But
Does he really?
Yeah, he's great. His little tongue hangs out and he drools when he purrs.
That
He's
is
definitely one of my
fantastic.
favorites.
I've always found that shelter animals,
They know.
they know, yeah, they know when they found a good and loving home, and there's reciprocity there. There's an appreciation for it. I feel like
Yeah, the loyalty and the gratefulness, you can feel it. It's
Yeah.
palpable.
we went to visit some dogs recently, just starting to consider the idea of getting another pet in our house, and so we went to the animal shelter, and there were a couple of young pit bulls there. And there was one that was so excited just to play with us that she literally did a front flip over her own feet because she was running faster than she could keep up with. It's so fun to watch the joy in them when you get them out of their kennels and
For some
spend time
people
with them.
too, it can be overwhelming when you first walk in where the dogs are, because they all see people and they get super excited and they want that attention. So they're all barking. But once you take the time to get them out of the kennel, go out to one of the play yards and interact with them, let them off leash, they'll burn off a little bit of steam and their real personality comes out. And most of them are so mellow.
Yeah. Yeah. There are in a wide variety of dogs there too. I mean, it's amazing how many different animals and different personality types and things. There's really something for everybody there.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. Right now, I know there's a small, fluffy, like a Bichon Frise or, Maltipoo type dog. A lot of people want smaller dogs. Those do come through the shelter more often than you would think. Purebreds definitely come through a lot more than anybody realizes from a municipal shelter. Purebred
And-
Dobermans, German Shepherds. We've seen purebred Malinois come through, Great Danes.
Golly.
Yeah.
And those are, if you bought them, they'd be from a breeder, they'd be painfully
Substantial.
expensive. And as a municipal shelter, you take every animal that you don't turn animals away. It's not.
So
something we're allowed to
currently
do.
our capacity is over what the building is necessarily set up for when it comes to dogs and cats, just from strays alone. So temporarily, we're not able to accept owner surrenders. We were doing a system with a waiting list where we would get all the information and we would actively try to clear as many animals out via adoptions, networking, events, transports out of state to shelters that did not have as many animals, and then accommodate being able to take owner surrenders. But at the moment, it's just the amount of strays in the Gulf Coast region in general. All the municipal shelters are feeling it.
Interesting. Any speculation as to why that is, or what caused that? I assume you talked to other shelter managers and things like that.
I think a lot of it, COVID was a very interesting challenge because people were home for almost 6 solid months, and all the shelters saw animals clear out. And then once people started going back to work and they didn't have as much time for the animals, there was a large influx into a lot of the shelters.
Fascinating.
And so it happened in a short amount of time, and everyone is kind of still reeling, trying to get out from under that, so to speak.
Yeah.
Previously, the northern states with harsher climates didn't have as many strays just because of nature. So the demand was higher than the supply. And a lot of shelters from the Gulf Coast region would transport dogs to northern states or colder climate states because there were potential adopters and not enough dogs to adopt. That has caught up as well at this point. So even those transports and them doing their best to help us down here are getting fewer and farther between. Rescues, private organizations, all are dealing with capacity issues.
That has to be a real challenge. I mean,
it is
for somebody, in a career like yours that works so incredibly hard and has such a passion for, serving animals in the community and being a public servant too. I mean, that has to be really challenging.
It is difficult, and we do our best, even in lieu of being able to accept owner surrenders. We have lists of resources with private shelters, private rescues, and everything that we still provide to attempt to help, owners that can potentially no longer care for an animal find placement for it, for what's best for the animal and their situation. We have a community pantry for residents of Pearland where if somebody hits a rough patch or has something going on, challenges at home, we can assist with food, potentially kennels, beds, and whatnot for animals to help them stay in the home.
That's good.
It's a community pantry? Yes.
Correct.
And like people
Yes.
just can come in and be like, hey, I'm struggling.
Yeah, residents of Pearland.
Oh, wow.
We have it's set up in our system as well where we'll just verify with the driver's license residency. We can create a profile for them. We've got the food in there, and we just would create essentially a receipt, but with no monetary value to it. And then we can track even, and at the end of the year say, we've given out this many pounds or cans of food to residents in need. And the donations that we get blows my mind every single day. The amount of people, citizens in the community coming in to donate, like, hey, I've got a Chewy order and it was the wrong food that they sent me, and I called them and they said donate it to the local shelter. Or people coming in, I have an extra dog bed, or I have towels that we're not using anymore, washcloths and whatnot. And those are all things we can use, and we end up with a pretty significant amount on almost a daily basis, and it amazes me every day.
So that was a question I had specifically about, like, what are the parameters for donations? Like, unopened, unexpired food is all acceptable.
Always,
What's
yes. We go through a lot of bath towels and hand towels because in our cat condos where the cats are when they're in our
condos.
care, we, instead of using newspaper, we'll use bath towels on the living side and fleece blankets over the shelf to create a little, place for them to feel comfortable and secure. And then on the separated side, because the litter pan is away from where their living area is, that side, a hand towel fits perfectly. And every day we go through, we clean every single kennel, we pull those out, we run them through a washer with sanitizer in it and keep a stock of those.
But you got to go through those pretty quickly.
Correct, yeah, because as soon as any kind of linens begin to get fraying or get holes in them, that's potentially something that we need to remove from the rotation, because you don't want to risk an animal's leg, or if it's a kitten and they got a little head, they stick their head through a hole while they're wrestling around and playing, and we don't want to create any constriction points.
Okay, so you said you clean the kennels every day.
Correct.
How many cat kennels are there?
Right now we have about 65 cats in the shelter.
So you clean 65 kennels.
Correct.
A
And that's
day.
just cats. Dogs fluctuates quite a bit. I mean, every day with the animals, it's very fluid.
Yeah.
The dynamic of how many animals we have. We seem to go anywhere from about 125 to 140
Total
It is
animals or dogs?
total
Okay.
animals.
And who's doing the cleaning work? Is it? I mean, it's got to be in all hands.
That's our staff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have here at Pearland a very, very unique setup as far as animal control or animal services goes. We do a system that's 4 phases. So phase 1 is husbandry, which is cleaning, caring for the animals, socializing. Phase 2 is medical care, so working with the veterinarian when they come in to care for the animals, passing medications, doing many medical treatments that the animals need, monthly checkups that we do if they've been there for that amount of time. We follow up with every animal, whether they need flea and heartworm medication or nail trim, ear cleaning, keep up with their weight to make sure if we need to back off on the food, up the food. So monthly they're getting that, and that all falls under phase 2 for medical. Phase 3 is front desk, so a lot of customer service, answering phones, processing adoptions, working with fosters that come in for supplies or to take animals out. And then phase 4 is field, so calls for service in the field, responding to that. And so the ACOs, everybody is an ACO. Instead of
Animal
having kennel
control
techs or vet techs, everyone is considered an animal control officer, and we work all 4 phases. So their
And
day...
they just rotate?
Correct, yeah. So every day when we're staffed, there's a small amount of cleaning, for each person to be done. But then after those morning assignments are completed, they'll move on to either front desk or the field or doing medical things. And it allows everybody a better work balance because you don't get burnt out on any one thing.
Sure.
You have a chance to not just be doing the same thing all day, every day. You get to...
And you know how the whole system works, too. I mean,
Yep.
you get to see every piece of that.
And it makes training so much easier, too,
Sure.
because we can focus on each particular phase as we go and check off, the training. And we have checklists and weekly check-ins, overall checklists.
That's really cool. I didn't realize it was structured that way.
How many people are on your team?
So currently we're staffed to have 9 ACOs, 2 supervisors, a programs coordinator, and then myself as the manager.
Okay. I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work. You guys are open 7 days a week? 6?
Currently we're closed on Sunday and Monday just because of the staffing that we have. But we do have, the position is open on the website.
For an animal control officer?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get this most recent fiscal year, we were allotted 1 more position, which is going to make a giant difference.
How many ACOs do you normally have? You said...
Total staff would be 9.
9.
Currently we're operating with 5.
Ooh, golly.
Yeah.
So you got some recruiting to do.
Correct. Yeah, we've been doing rounds of interviews. A lot of really good applicants.
Yeah.
Wait, if you're operating with 5, then how many people are like in the field or in the shelter at any given time?
So currently, most days we have 1 person in the field running calls for service. If it gets to where it's extremely backed up, we can try to flex things a little bit and get an additional person out there. And the supervisors or myself will jump into the role that a normal ACO would be filling. That way we can make sure everything still keeps running.
That's crazy.
And it
to me.
keeps your skills sharp, too. So,
Correct.
you know,
Yeah, I don't want to lose that.
Right. Well, and you don't want to ask your people to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. Or
I'm a
couldn't
very
do.
firm believer in, as a leader, understanding and being competent in the role of each person that you're leading.
Sure.
Can't teach what you don't know.
I know. I'm just thinking about, like, I can't do half the things that y'all do, so sorry about that. I'm an incompetent leader. No, I can. I can do the things, just not nearly as good. They're much more proficient at it than I am.
You talk good.
Thank. Oh, goodness. What questions you got? I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, you have. That's
I
why I
know.
said you talk good.
Oh, yeah. I'm good at podcasting.
So how did you get into animal services?
So I was actually an EMT basic for about 8 years previously, and I really enjoyed that, ambulance, emergency room, whatnot. And then I was born and raised in Southern California. And then my wife and family, we relocated out here about 10 years ago. Got out while the getting was good, way ahead of that wave. but she has family here. We had a support system in place, cost of living, school systems, safety for family and kids. So once we moved out here, I kind of dabbled in a couple different things at public service wise. I did a little bit of 911 telecommunications for City of Houston. Did that through Harvey and the Super Bowl. That was a whole gamut of experiences.
That sounds stressful.
A little bit of police dispatch for a school district, and then kind of thought about it and was like, I care so much about animals. I wanted to get into the animal field. There is some gatekeeping in the animal industry where if you don't have animal experience, it's hard to get into it because it's so specific. I got lucky in the fact that I was able to get on with Harris County. One of the precincts has an environmental education department where they have 2 locations with a myriad of different animals, and they have what's called naturalists and a naturalist assistant. And the naturalists take 2 or 3 animals each day out to schools, community centers, senior centers, VFWs, and they do environmental education with it.
Wow.
The naturalist assistant is taking care of the animals, socializing them, cleaning, feeding, interacting with them each day. And so I was a naturalist assistant, so I got to take care of everything from ferrets to scorpions and tarantulas, 6 different kinds of snakes, hedgehogs, salamanders, lizards, tortoises. We had a wealth of different animals. And so I got just a full spectrum of animal experience with including exotics. And that
amazing.
gave me experience that I needed to get on with veterinary public health for Harris County.
Have you ever been bitten by anything venomous or poisonous or anything?
I have not, luckily.
Wow. I guess you probably don't deal with too many like dangerous animals.
We get a
right?
surprising amount of snake calls here in Pearland.
Really?
They find their way into garages or just in general, anytime there's a rain or water event, turtles.
They find high ground.
Yep,
higher ground.
will come out. Snapping turtles, which there's a couple different kinds of. There's common snapping turtles, alligator snapping turtles.
And some of those are pretty fierce.
Yeah, yeah. Those you want to get put back in their native habitat.
So if a snake's in somebody's garage, will y'all go in and remove it? Or is
Correct.
that-
Yeah.
Holy cow! I didn't realize
Yeah.
that was part of the job.
Yeah. Most of the time, the focus is on wild animals in the livable portion of a house.
Yeah.
But when we have the staffing, we will still go out and assist citizens when we can on something like it's in a garage, because generally if you leave the door open, if they're in a non-livable portion and they don't have access to get into where you're at, they're going to find their way out because they went in there for something, whether that's seeking shelter, exploring for food. And when they don't find what they're looking for, more times than not, they're going to go.
That's really cool. Not a big fan of snakes, but I try to be mindful of like the helpful ones versus the dangerous ones. Like
we have the potential for 3 venomous snakes in this region. There are copperheads, cottonmouths, and then also coral snakes.
Coral snakes. There are quite a few coral snakes around here.
And coral snakes are the only North American elapid, so they're in the same family as cobras.
Well, but I've heard they have to gnaw on you quite a bit to like be able to inject venom.
They're more known for dry bites or kind of chewing on. Dry bite would be where they bite and the fangs penetrate the skin, but they don't necessarily
Release
envenomate.
Copperheads are the ones that are potentially very dangerous.
In my experience, copperheads have a bad rap because I've dealt with a lot of copperheads, and generally if you don't step on them or too close to them, they kind of just do their thing.
Yeah.
I've relocated them, and they don't really give you too much trouble. Cottonmouths are somewhat feisty.
Yeah.
And will actively seek you out if they feel like you're in their space.
I always get so copperheads are the tan and dark brown.
Correct, with the little Hershey kiss pattern along the sides.
Also, didn't realize that they could swim as well as they can.
Both of them can, yeah.
Oh my goodness! I saw one across the top of the water when I was fishing. I was like,
I encounter cottonmouth a lot when I'm fishing as well.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll be swimming and they see you and then they'll come towards you.
Yeah.
Oh no, they'll come towards you.
Yeah.
Is it because they know you have food?
I think it's more so
They just think they're
checking it out and
like,
like, what is this in my space?
Oh, I'm curious. I want to bite that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd heard you liked fishing. Is this you're a saltwater fisherman or freshwater, or what's your preference?
Primarily saltwater. I do a lot of inshore saltwater fishing for reds and black drum, alligator gar, but I will dabble with some freshwater too for catfish and bass.
Wade fishing or
No, primarily bank.
Yeah. Oh, bank fishing. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So you don't have to tell me your secrets here, but we're going to talk about this later because I myself, I like saltwater fishing, but don't have the luxury of a boat. And I find
Same.
shore fishing, it's hard to find decent places for
It's all about finding the spot.
or to wade, or to find a place to wade in from the shore. That's a really challenging
Yeah.
thing to do too.
The bays have a lot of opportunities for wade fishing that's very viable, but a lot of that's lure
yeah.
fishing, topwater fishing for reds and drum.
So are you mostly artificial or are you using...
I'm doing a lot of live bait.
Yeah.
I have a 5-gallon bucket that's set up with an aerator, so live shrimp.
Nice.
If I go to a bait house, I can get live shrimp, or live blue crab works extremely well for reds and drum.
They do love that shrimp,
They
though.
do.
I've
Especially
always
if it's a
had-
popping cork and you suspend it from the surface and simulate the natural.
Yeah, yeah. There was last time I went, similar thing. We went with a guide, and just a couple pounds of shrimp, just do meat haul, and man, we caught trout, we caught redfish, we caught we catch a flounder at one point. I don't remember what all we caught on that one, but it was right there in the intercoastal waterway,
Yep.
and just hit a couple of shallows right there. But that's always a good time.
Yeah.
I personally like saltwater better than freshwater, personally. We grew up with a little pond at our house, and like I can catch perch and bass and stuff, and that's fun, but saltwater it's a...
Something different about hearing that drag pull and the line spool out at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, especially if it's a big red or a big black drum or something like that.
Or a big gar, because
Yeah.
they do cruise through the waterways too in brackish water, and they're the apex predator, so they get real big.
They do. I was trying to catch one up in Chocolate Bayou because they have tarpon and snook up in the bayou. Jasmine's making a face because she's not interested in this conversation at all. But I'll show you a picture of a tarpon we caught, and it's unreal.
Tarpon are the ultimate game fish.
They are
The fight is
gnarly, and this is
next
juvenile
level.
tarpon. He's like 3 feet long. But there was a giant alligator gar, and my buddy was like, "Don't catch. Why are you going to try to catch him?"
Oh, that fight is special, and then
That's
you got to
what I-
lasso them to get them in.
Yeah. So there's some fantastic gar fishing. I find like I'm not as concerned about snakes in that water as I am about stingrays when I'm wade fishing.
Yeah.
More when I go down towards like Port O'Connor in that area, because the rays get mean down there.
Yes, and large.
Yes, they get really big. I mean, I wear shin guards, but still, like I don't want to.
I run a stainless steel leader, and every time a ray takes the bait and we get it in, we get the hook out. They're so strong, they actually bend the stainless steel leader.
Golly, can you believe that, Jasmine? Amazing. Have you ever been fishing? Not even once. You?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know anything. Like my dad would just drag me out. One of those few fond memories I'd have, where we'd go out to Galveston or something along those lines.
So saltwater
At, like,
fishing.
yeah. I don't know.
Even just being
Explore
out
in
in
the
nature,
morning.
if you're not catching anything, it's
Yeah,
still a great experience.
I was actually talking to my partner about this. We should go fishing because I was just like, you know what? I have these weird family memories of just throwing some chicken necks
Yeah.
out onto like some
Getting some
bayous.
crabs.
Yeah, getting crab. And I'm just like, we didn't catch a lot, but it was just nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what people say. It's not about the fish you catch or whatever. It's about
right.
the experience.
I will say, so one year for my son's birthday, we got a beach house down on Bolivar. And I don't know why, but I was like, man, I'd never cast netted before in my life.
It's an
And
art.
It is. So one morning I went down to the local bait shop, bought my own cast net, and went out in the surf and just started, going for it. Caught my own bait, caught a bunch of little
Mullet.
mullet, put one on a hook and walked way out, cast out there, and then just piked the pole in the sand. All we caught was hardheads that day, but it was so fun.
I've
I
seen
caught my own
hardheads
bet.
over 2 feet long.
Yeah, we
They
caught
get
some pretty good
gigantic.
size ones. So it's pretty fun. And you can catch sharks out there all day long. all day long.
I don't think I'd want to do that.
Catching a shark is a lot of fun, actually.
You
I
almost
think I
need
just
the
want to eat some
drone
crab.
now to take the line out for you.
Yeah.
That's
A
a whole
drone?
thing. They
Yep.
have waterproof drones
Like
that
a-
have a bait holder, so they clip onto the line, and you fly the drone out past the breakers into just the swells, and you push a button on the remote, and it opens the little claw and drops your bait out there for you.
And it's
Otherwise,
nice,
you have
it's
to
deeper water and-
kayak
yep.
out to that far,
Oh,
let
that's
it go, and
cool.
then come back in.
Okay, cool.
There is a
Neat.
company that made this CO2 cannon. So
Mm-hmm.
you have a frozen bullet-shaped bait, and it goes on the end of your leader. You put it down a tube, crank the CO2, and it shoots it just like out hundreds of feet. I mean, it goes pretty good ways out there.
And then you just bring it back?
No, you let it
What?
sit out there until something takes the bait.
Oh, okay.
Until something
See,
takes the
I-
bait, or you're sure the crabs have eaten it all, and there's nothing
Yeah,
left.
yeah. And you start over. But to me, it's all about the experimentation. You know what I mean? It's just
I have a spot like that right now that I have fished probably 6 times, and it's brackish water, and I know they're there, and I can't get them, and it's just this drive to,
Sure.
is it the timing, is it the
Yep.
bait I'm using, is it the presentation, and I refuse to let this spot win because I know they're there. You can see them breaking the surface, and that peacock eye on the tail. I know there's reds there. I know there's gar there because you'll
redfish
see
have
them
a
roll.
dot on their tail.
And I know that they're there, and I've tried everything, and I come away empty-handed every time I go to this spot, and I just refuse to give up on it.
Those
sounds
reds
fun,
are
actually.
tricky fish, though. You can see them when you're fishing close to shorelines. I'm talking to Jasmine because she's fascinated with this conversation. Where when you get in real shallow water, you'll see them eating, and you'll see their tails sticking up out of the water, and so you'll see them flicker around. And so we were drifting in a boat, and we could see the school of reds up ahead of us, probably 30 yards. And so we'd try to ease up and get close enough where we could cast past them and pull through them. And every time they would just move in front of us, like they could sense us back there, and they would never let us get any closer. We never caught them. We never caught a single one of those because they were just too smart for us.
A lot of bank fishing, the inshore saltwater waterways too. There's dolphins, which you can still catch reds, but for the most part, any of the game fish leave the area when there's dolphins. But it's still magic every time to just be sitting there and watch a pod of dolphins go through, and you'll see them with their young, teaching them how to hunt, and it's just a great experience even then.
The last time I fished Galveston Island State Park, we were catching croakers, and like we saw the reds, and then dolphin fin.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're done.
Texas City Dike, it's almost a guarantee the dolphins are going to come through at some point while you're there too.
Yeah, and then you're smoked. It's some good areas around there though. So much fun.
We live in a very rich environment for fishing opportunities.
What do y'all do with your fish? Like, do y'all actually, do y'all eat them? Do you cook them? Okay, because I don't know a lot of people that actually eat fish. So I'm just
Redfish is redfish
best.
on the half shell. Oh my
On the
goodness!
Oh, no.
grill,
I love
olive oil,
fish, so that's-
season it.
Yeah, garlic butter.
We do a lot of, with the redfish, we chop them up into little chunks and mix it with seasoning and flour, and then fry them and do little fish bites.
That was the wrong
Nice.
question because
Yeah.
now
Dipped in buffalo or ranch or whatever. They're amazing. Gar is amazing.
Okay, I
too.
wondered about that because I've never eaten gar before.
Yeah. Yeah. Fish tacos with gar.
Is it like
where
a
you
flaky
fry.
white fish, like a meaty fish?
Yep.
Like a,
Especially when you catch them in brackish or salt water, because in those environments, they're the apex predator. So they're eating nothing but other fish.
right. So they have a good diet. Well, and plastic. I mean, we know they all eat plastic, but
we all have microplastics.
yeah, that's fine.
What is brackish water? I'm sorry, I'm just trying
Brackish
to
is
find.
where
fresh.
salt and fresh mix.
Oh,
So
cool.
Clear Lake, where it if you go down to Kemah, that area right in there is
Yeah.
brackish water because you're going from Clear Lake into the bay.
The San Jacinto, where it comes out of the dam from from Lake Houston up there off of West Lake Houston Parkway and the Beltway and whatnot, that section of the San Jacinto is brackish almost all the way up to the dam.
Really? Mm-hmm. How does the backcurrent reach that far?
The tide doesn't have as much of an effect on the water level, how far up and down it goes, but there's reds all the way up in through there I've seen.
Wow. I'm surprised they can survive that far.
Yeah.
Up. But I mean, I guess if they're saltwater.
Adaptation too,
Yeah, right,
generation
right.
after generation, each one pushing a little farther.
Redfish, that's what you want to catch.
Yeah.
And fun.
Black drum's good too.
Black drum is good if it doesn't get too big.
Yeah.
If they get too big, they get worms.
Oh, ew.
Not usually in the meat though. It's weird. Those worms, from the ones I have found, it's always where the fillet ends before the tail begins, in that weird section of like sinew.
Interesting. I want to know where the worms come from.
It's a parasite, I believe, that goes in through a scale and then sets up shop. And it just looks like spaghetti noodles. It's
That
just
moves
like
on
a,
its own, It's good
almost
stuff.
looks like a Tangela, the Pokemon.
So what else does Josh Craft do? What are your hobbies?
When the weather is good, like during the summer, I like to go to car shows. My kids like going to the car shows and hanging out, whether it's hot rods, classic cars, import cars.
Cool.
We enjoy pretty much all of that. The truck shows.
What's your favorite vehicle of all time? What's
I
the poster?
definitely have a soft spot for anything from about 1988 to 2000 that's JDM.
Oh, wow.
Japanese import cars.
So
I love those.
A Supra or
Definitely like R32 Skylines
GTR.
are my...
Yep. Okay. Solid choice. Great drift car.
Yeah.
That's the R32. I think was it's invaluable now, but I felt like it was an underrated car at that time. It wasn't until I got to like R34 that people were like, "Oh, well, Fast and Furious." When Fast and Furious started coming
culture had a lot to do with the popularity of the individual vehicles. What people see in a movie, then it's like a gateway, and they're like, "Oh, well, what's that?" And then you just go down the rabbit hole and find everything else.
Fun fact about the GTR: it's made by Nissan, right?
Yes.
Nissan, yeah. They won't put power output specs on the motors, so like there's not a stated standard horsepower, because every single one of those engines is handmade.
And in Japan, during the time that you had to produce a certain amount of race cars to qualify for different racing divisions, you had to put so many of them out as production to qualify for that division. Toyota, Nissan, Mazda, with their supercars, whether it was Mark IV Supras or third gen RX-7s, the Skylines, the major manufacturers had sort of a gentleman's agreement where they all just rated them at the exact same like 240 horsepower, even though they were like well over that, so that they could all compete against each other in a certain class.
Wow.
Pretty
I don't
cool.
know anything about this. Another topic that I don't know anything about, but I appreciate everybody knowing everything about it. These things, I don't know.
I don't know much about the JDM series. I'm more American-made classic car, muscle car. 50s,
66
60s.
through 72 were a good set of years for American cars.
My son's always asked me like, well, money was no object. What car would you have? And it's silly. It's the same one every time. It would be a 69 Yenko Camaro with or a 69 Z28, one of the two. Chevrolet, another racing fact, made a 302 cubic inch small block. Ford is kind of known for their 302. It's their 5-liter V8. It's the V8 I have in my truck. It's in all the Mustangs, blah, blah, blah. Chevrolet was known for their 350. They made the 350 small block. They made it forever. One year, they made a 302. It went in the 1969 Camaro. And the reason they did it was because the Trans American Racing Series, Trans Am Series, limited displacement to 5 liters. So their 5.7 liter that they normally had, or their 6 liter, their bigger motors weren't allowed to compete in the race. So they said, fine, we'll take I think it's a block from a 327 and a crank from a 289, or vice versa.
De-stroked.
327. And they made the 302, and it was like a fantastic high revving, high horsepower producing motor, and they did it out 1 year, and then the restriction went away, and they did away with the motor. So the 1969 Z28 Camaro is the only production car to have that motor in it.
They're loving this conversation.
It's
I have a soft spot for an oddball American muscle car. I always liked the American Motors Corporation, the AMC, the AMX.
Yeah,
They only made them for 3 years. It was based on the Javelin. They cut the wheelbase down, made it shorter, but those were
it's
to me
a very
the style.
distinct car. I mean, and it is basically a Javelin. I mean,
And there was a guy named
basically.
Craig Breedlove who set a land speed record in one too. And they released a special edition in like American flag colors that you could buy from a dealer for like a $300 option.
And that it is an iconic
Yeah.
color combo. It's like the most American thing you could possibly get. What year was that? That was 70.
67,
67?
68, 69.
That AMC made that
Yep.
car specifically. AMC only made cars. They didn't last that much longer after this.
They didn't. They didn't. They owned Jeep for a while too.
Yeah, that's right.
Back in the Grand Wagoneer and that
And
era.
I always got confused. That's the same AMC that had bowling alleys, isn't it? Or different?
That's AMF.
Is it?
Is the bowling alleys, which is odd because there was a company called AMF that owned Harley Davidson for a while in the 80s. That could be the same as the bowling. I don't know.
That one might be the one that I'm thinking of. Anyways, lots of good car history there.
How's that Camry treating you?
How's that? My Camry? My little 2014 Camry? She's kicking. It's okay.
Does it have a name?
Cam.
Yeah. Cam the Camry.
Yeah, Cam the Camry.
We taught Kathleen how to change the oil in her Camry.
It's also the reason why I like beer.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, she came over to my house and first of all drove up on the ramp. So I knew she was coming over. I told her, I was like, I'll teach you how to change your oil. Just come over to the house. And so I got all the stuff out and I have just the ramps to drive up on. And I just set them out like roughly where they would go. And I was in my front yard like picking up sticks and stuff. And I see Kathleen bebopping down the road. And I should have known better. You know, she whips into my driveway and I'm like, clearly she's not. And she just goes right up onto the ramps. And they were not at all like positioned for her car. And so she's like hanging off the side of this one and the ramp's all bowed out. And I was like, can you back off of those for a second? She backed the car down. I get them lined up. I'm like, okay, now you can drive up them. And so before we started changing the oil, I was like, you got to crack open a Lone Star. You know, like this this job goes better if you can sip on a beer while you're doing it. Yeah. And so we did. So we cracked a Lone Star and taught her how to change the oil in her car. It went pretty well, I think.
Yeah. No, I still change my own oil.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I mean,
fantastic.
if Patrick isn't changing my oil.
Yeah,
because
he doesn't do that.
I mean, he does. I mean, what? What? Okay.
Kidding. Does Patrick change oil in his Jeep?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
Why didn't he change oil in your car?
We weren't living together at the time.
Oh, right. Okay. That's right. Does he do it now, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I ask him to, but I like working.
Good for you.
I say working on the car. I just like
No,
Counts.
that's working on
It
it.
counts.
I like detailing my car. So when I have time for it. Right now, Cam looks terrible.
I hate the detailing work.
Oh, I love the detailing work. It's like mowing the lawn, you know? You
I
just
even
zone
bought
out.
that little container with the sticky stuff, the slimy
little
type
goo?
stuff
Oh,
to
yeah.
do your own vents to get the dust out of them.
So you have like the chamois and the wax, and you do all the.
I usually go to one of the drive-through car washes that has the ceramic treatment, but then you can pull out after, and they've got the vacuum, the air, the floor mat cleaner, the dispensers with all the rags, and it's easier to do it that way than take up space in the garage with all the stuff at the house.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
That's a good point.
You get the saddle soap out and like clean the seats real good and condition all the leather.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple of chairs very similar to these, but that are from the 70s, like mustard yellow with the button rivets and the dark wicker on the sides. Have a little cigar station in the garage.
That's
Okay, I
awesome.
thought you were
That's a
gonna say it
much
was in
better
your
use of
car.
your
I was
garage.
like,
Have a
What?
Google Home out there. I have a garage playlist.
So what's on your garage playlist?
A lot of Johnny Cash, a lot of old blues, Muddy Waters, Clapton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So good, just like chilling music. All right.
Yeah.
Any Steve Earle or Townes Van Zandt, like, folksy?
No, a lot of the older stuff where it was like 3-piece, like
Yeah.
real old
Yeah.
blues, where they've converted those old vinyl recordings and you can hear just every nuance.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've gotten into more vinyls lately. We bought a record player, and I like it so much more. It's such a warmer sound.
It's very
than
different, yeah. I
digitally
did that
sampled
too.
music.
I got a like Audio Technica, one of the mid-range LP players and a couple of reference speakers, and
Yeah.
it's a whole experience doing that too.
Shopping for vinyl is so much
Everything
fun.
is available now. Even
Yeah.
the current bands
Yeah.
are putting vinyl out.
Yep.
Some of them even do cassettes, and I'm like, why?
I was just trying to think about when the last time I had a cassette player was. It's been a while. It's been a hot
Been
minute.
a while. Sorry, that's
We
my
can't sing
genre
that song
of
on here.
music.
It's copyrighted. I've been in the weirdest. I was actually in Baltimore, and so like I have to travel home, and I found Sublime's self-titled album. And I was like, I can't leave it here.
You're not going to not get it.
Right. I just have to try to get it home safely. And I did. And it's one of my favorites. And then Beastie Boys, License to Ill. And I'm still trying to find the other Beastie Boys album.
Hello Nasty with Intergalactic Planetary and those songs, or the
Yes.
one before that was Sabotage?
The one
and
before
all
that was
Yeah.
Sabotage. Well, all three of them. I need to find the other two. But those aren't nearly as common as I thought they would be. I've found License to Ill in a couple different places.
You know who has a surprising amount of vinyl is Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel?
What?
Yes, the last time I was at a Cracker Barrel with my wife and kids getting dinner one evening before we went to the movies, they have a stand with like 5 shelves tall on it, and it turns, and it's 4-sided, and they had a ton of vinyl. They had the Elvis, the when he was on Sun Records, that collection.
Holy
they had a
cow.
Bob Marley Greatest Hits, which I'd been looking for a while and was able to snag, like a bunch that I did
Amazing.
not see coming.
They probably don't have Beastie Boys, but
I don't think so. There was, I want to say they had Wu-Tang.
They have
Yeah.
Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm gonna have to check that out because
Cracker
there's
Barrel.
one 518 and
Yeah, 518, 288.
518 and 45. There's one down there, right?
The
Down by
chicken and
Legends.
dumplings and vinyl. It's a win.
I know. Can't go wrong. And take a nap afterwards. 'Cause
Yeah.
I do love the Cracker Barrel. Let's do a little puzzle.
Right
box.
now they got all the Christmas stuff, all the little tchotchkes and keepsakes.
That's awesome. Now I need a garage space for like chilling. Move my vinyl out there.
Go on
idea.
Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, find some of those old 1970s style smoking chairs, they call them.
I was looking for something like, well, actually I wanted to get some like that for this, but like giant wingback chairs.
These are up to like here, the ones I have.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law found them at a yard sale, and I was like, please.
So there's this Facebook group in Dallas, and the waiting list on it was like dummy long. It took years to get into this. It's a garage sale Facebook group, but it's Highland Park, which is like the neighborhood, and it's like River Oaks, but in Dallas. And
Is it more like estate sales or yard sales? Because estate sales are where you find the real good stuff.
well, it's anything and everything. Like I saw there was an Aston Martin on for sale on that not that long ago. So I got in after I moved down here, and I was like, really,
Worth
guys?
it. Worth it.
But yeah, so I find things, and because they all have like mid-century modern furniture and like really high-end like solid crystal doorknobs and so, like crazy stuff. And I don't want to drive all the way to Dallas to like, hey, will you hold it for me? I'll send you a deposit. I'll be there in like 2 hours, 4 hours. But
So I did this thing in high school. I had this class all 4 years, and there was a club for the class called Lapidary, which is making things out of stone using diamond grinders and polishing wheels with like aluminum oxide powder, and you could make different things. It was a whole culture in the 60s and 70s, and it just kind of fell out of popularity. A lot of schools transitioned more away from electives and fine arts into things. But the course I took in high school counted for science credit too, because they taught you geology, the volcanic, igneous, metamorphic, the different kinds of rocks, taught us to read topographical maps by making our own mountains out of ceramic clay, and then you'd put them in a bin and put a little bit of water and put a clear plexiglass lid. You would trace the outline of the shore, add some more water, trace the outline of the shore again, and you made your own topographical map.
Cool.
But in the act of doing that, it was so interactive that it stuck forever.
Yeah.
But it counted as fine art and science doing that. But there is, in late January, early February, there's a town in Arizona called Quartzsite. and the population goes from like 3,000 people of snowbirds up to over 1 million. There's a giant swap meet for, it started as rock kind of stuff, but it's everything.
Interesting.
And it's like a real adventure.
So have you done this before?
Yeah, I've gone there multiple times, and you're just digging through table after table, and it's broken up into like this square mile is called Tyson Wells, this square mile is called this, and like they have different spaces, and it's crazy.
So have you ever come home with anything that you're like,
Just random. It's probably junk, but to me, I was like, yes. Like you'll find 90s video games, like Nintendo games, all those old ones.
Whoa.
And it's just like, oh, $5. Or I found, and I was super happy with Dale Earnhardt Sr., one of those collector plates like that they would do commercials for in the 80s and 90s. And it's, limited numbered, and it still had the certificate of authenticity. And it's probably worth $12. But to me, putting it up on the wall, I was like, this is amazing. But also stuff for, stonework, jewelry making, things from other countries. It's a really neat place to go and check out if you only do it once, just to say you did and see what it's all about.
I struggle. I love going to estate sales, one, because I like, going through people's houses, but not in a weird way. Like I'm curious, you know what I mean? Like, oh, that house looks neat. Let's go see inside of it. You can only do that in an estate sale or an open house. Anyways, I never know. Like, I don't have a plan for what I'm gonna. Oh, I need a thing.
Yeah, I never go looking for something in particular. It finds me.
Yeah, there was one actually right over here in Old Shady Crest. And the dude had a big shop out back, and you walk in the shop and like has all this merchandise and all these stickers and keychains and hats and mugs. Well, turned out the dude is the one that ran the gift shop at the Battleship Texas for years and years and years, and he manufactured all his own stuff, and he had crazy stuff that I've never seen before. And so it's always fun finding little surprises like that, and I'm always I'm like, do I need I need a sticker of a guy riding an armadillo shooting two guns in there, like why wouldn't I need that? But it's I think most of the time I end up like talking myself out of, unless I have a specific. I bought a thing of files one time, metal files, because like, yeah, totally, like
I'll use them.
who doesn't need a thing of metal files?
Yes.
I use them all the time.
The triangle ones, the rat tails,
Yeah.
the flat ones,
The
the,
rounded
different
ones?
coarseness.
Yeah.
I was using
All
those
the time.
yesterday. I was using those yesterday. Metal files.
Were you?
Yeah, I was sanding
Where were you sanding?
some cosplay stuff.
Which is you need tools for stuff like that. Were you making what, like a weapon or what?
Yeah.
Getting ready
Was
for
this-
Comic Palooza? Or
No,
you
it
gonna go
was
to
for
Austin, or-
Renfest.
For Renfest?
Yeah.
When are you going?
Sunday.
Oh,
With
so
Jasmine.
you're going for Barbarian Weekend?
We didn't intend to go for Barbarian Weekend.
I heard it's rowdy on Barbarian
yeah,
Weekend.
but that's not the only time we're free. So
Oh. We
So
went
it
this
has to
last
be
weekend and we
Barbarian.
didn't dress up.
was that Heroes Weekend?
Yeah, heroes and villains.
I heard that was kind of weak.
Well, it's more family friendly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yes, but there was like nice. Nope, I can't say that out loud. Only because it would ruin.
The
It would ruin
surprise.
some things. It would ruin a movie for certain people who haven't gotten to see it yet. So
Spoiler alerts.
yeah.
Spoilers.
So there were characters from the new Deadpool that were there. There were a couple of pretty good Batmans. And who was the one I was surprised to see? I don't remember now. It was fun though. We had a good time.
That's good.
Lots of eating, food off of a stick. And we tried. What did Ben try? He tried throwing the head in the basket. That game.
What?
It's like basketball, but it's a fake head, and you throw
Oh.
it into a basket.
Neat.
He didn't do very well.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
it's good.
I'll try that.
Is it
through
like
the
one of
trophies,
those
yeah.
Apple baskets and it bounces out every time?
Yeah. Well, this was like a basket with chain, but I mean, yeah, it's only just bigger than the thing. It's rigged.
They all are. I'm gonna try and YouTube all the little
House
hacks
wins
for them.
every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
I tried to do the strongman, make the bell ring with the hammer
Oh, yeah?
deal. And I was like, it's going to be easy. It was not easy.
Oh,
I didn't do it. I thought for sure I'd be able to make my 155 pounds work hard enough to
strong man.
ring the bell, but it didn't work. I couldn't. But it's fun. Y'all have a good time. So is your costume going to be done?
I hope so. It better
me
be.
too.
I mean, if
It's Thursday, girl. You gotta
Yeah,
hurry.
that's why I'm sanding
Okay.
and painting.
So who are you going to be?
I'm just going as this anime character.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which anime character?
Thank you. Somebody who watches anime around here. Somebody with taste.
Wait,
I'm going as Freerin.
I don't know who that is.
That's
You're
okay. Relatively recent anime.
right. Who is it?
Freerin?
Freerin?
Yeah.
Okay, I need links to this so I can watch that.
You don't need to.
Why don't I need to watch it?
I mean, you can.
I want to watch it.
Kind of
You
cute.
should get a whole group together and get the costumes and be the scout squad from Attack on Titan because that would fit right in with the cloaks and
We
the
just,
like
we just need to make
steampunk.
sure we got to lose a couple limbs or something along those lines. Yeah, be traumatized.
Do you watch anime? Do you watch anime?
We can talk about something to make Jolie feel a little
offset.
a little-
Yeah.
to offset all of that.
I'm fascinated by this. Nice. Good job. Good segue. Good
So
segue.
I grew up in the era where it was still Dragon Ball
Same.
and Goku had a tail and rode a cloud and you had to get up at like 5 a.m. on Saturdays to watch it on a local channel. And then Dragon Ball Z, I was in high school and it was the
Oh.
most epic thing ever.
Oh wow, yeah. DBZ for me was elementary school.
Triamite
Yeah,
Saga.
Who was the character from Dragon Ball Z that I knew?
you knew somebody?
Yeah, you remember?
No.
He passed away recently.
Okay, what color was
last
his
year.
character? Was he green?
He was I forget. Hang on, I'm gonna Google it now. Chris Ayres.
Chris Ayres.
Chris
Okay,
Ayres was the
Chris
actor.
Ayres. He did Piccolo?
I think so.
I don't know. That's why I asked what color
I'm
he
thinking
was.
so, yeah.
I forget.
Chris Ayres died?
Yeah. It was very sad. He was Frieza.
Oh, I'm way off. Well, Frieza is a different color than people.
Yeah.
Chris Ayres is Frieza's like purple.
That's the only anime I really know.
Yeah. Fun
like
fact,
watching-
Jolie voice acted for an anime one time that he can't remember the name
yeah.
of.
And I
Yeah.
can't find my copy of it, which is driving me absolutely bonkers.
It's going to be like the end of an era once we find out.
It will be. So, and I do remember.
It's almost better if you don't because then it's just the perpetual search
You're right.
Yeah,
There's
that's
nothing
true.
that keeps
chasing that golden ring.
Yeah.
So admittedly, when I took that job, I didn't know or have much interest in anime, and they're like, "Hey, we just need you to show up this place," and they're dubbing this thing. They'll give you the script and get there, and it's like, okay, whatever. And so I get into the sound booth with these people, and they of course have it playing, and they're like, "Okay, everybody in the scene is going to be panicking." So just mimic that and like the characters. All right. And it's these people and they're in the shopping mall, like open shopping area. And then these like floating monsters, it's just like a ball with a face on it, come flying through and like one snatches the head off of this lady and blood starts shooting everywhere. And I was like, what? This is a cartoon.
This is the most descriptive I've heard of this show. I'm going to figure this out.
Off of that,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
we've
figure this
got to be
out.
able to.
It was
Google.
like, what in the world? And like, I'd never seen a cartoon do that before.
How long ago
you know?
was this?
This was 2001, 2002.
Oh, we're gonna find it.
We gotta.
It's somewhere right in that time frame.
We can do this together.
Yeah.
Now there's more than just me. We can do this together. Horror anime from the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah,
Because if it's early 2000s, then it must have been produced in Japan in the 90s.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
would
They're
think so.
always the dubbings.
Mm-hmm.
And the dubbing was
behind.
it was a company here in Houston that did it.
Is it Funimation?
I don't remember. We've had this conversation
We did.
before. But they were over there off of like 50. No, they're over off of 10, over sort of
Oh,
in Katy.
we did have this conversation and they don't exist anymore.
I-10 the Beltway.
Yeah.
In the energy corridor over there. But
Sure.
just like in an office building and then sound booth.
I'll figure it out.
We need to find
Palooza is good every year here.
I've never gone sinfully.
Do you go dressed as anything, or
I don't know.
Boo.
if you were gonna have a costume, who would you?
Oh, probably Jiraiya from Naruto Shippuden.
That's safe. I'm safe.
Right.
I'm like, no one's gonna be mad about anyone being Jiraiya.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, so some characters, I mean, obviously are pretty controversial. Like,
Maybe. Yeah, to an extent. No,
interesting.
not really.
Okay,
I think it's
Sometimes.
more about getting the costume right.
Yeah.
Can't be hacky.
Yeah.
sure. Which that's a really difficult thing. I feel like
It is.
to do,
It is. Etsy is your best friend, though.
Yeah. You got to pay a lot of money, but it's your
Yeah.
best friend.
or you have to be. I mean, a very talented.
Like
You know.
Patrick. Yeah.
Oh yeah, manufacturer.
Yeah.
So how much of your costume did Patrick like print?
Oh, it's
or-
literally just like my one prop.
Ah,
That's it.
I see.
Yeah.
Is it a sword?
No, it's a
Gun?
staff.
Ah,
I'm a mage.
sure.
I do spells.
Awesome.
Wabam.
You should put like. I was gonna say you should put some like I don't know. I have ideas.
There were a couple of things that I saw where they used like LED lights to create the runes essentially, but
Sure.
that's a lot of work. Like, I mean, this thing is in like 4 days. I'm not about to go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you need like some like the powder that they use for sparklers. Like light some like like little fireworks come out the end of it. I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. You're fine. Don't overdo it. Keep it simple.
Okay, cool. Yeah, keep it simple.
What are you going as?
Like a mushroom fairy.
Jasmine said a mushroom fairy
What is a mushroom fairy?
I look like a mushroom
covered in moss, like a fairy, kind of pretty.
with elf ears.
Does it involve wings?
No.
So you're not a fairy.
No.
So it's like a nymph.
That, like, yes, okay, thank you. I didn't know
What?
that word.
It'd be like a nymph, right? If it
Nymph.
doesn't have
Oh.
wings.
Kind of, yeah. Like a like a druid, except a mushroom.
Druid.
Yeah.
I feel like y'all are making these words up now.
Well, listen, how do you think me and Jasmine felt? You guys talking about fishing, brackish water? Like, what is that?
Something for everybody.
That's right.
Sturgeon? Snooky?
Snook.
Snooky?
Snook. It's a type of fish. It's not snooky.
Jersey Shore.
Not Jersey
Snooky
Shore.
from Jersey Shore.
This is the Galveston Shore. Oh man, this conversation took some turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It
This
went
is one of my
places.
favorite ones so far. You, sir, are a fascinating individual.
A lot of interests. A lot of varied interests.
So what else? What are the other things?
What are the other things?
Official co-host. What more?
What
What are the
more?
questions?
I don't.
Question him.
I only had questions about like the animal services part and
Lame.
and anime, but like we already went through the animal services part.
And anime.
Are you watching any good animes right now? Have you
I mean,
stumbled on anything?
like I said, I rewatched Freerun. I didn't notice that Spy Family's movie came out last year, so I've got that I finished, and then Haikyuu's movie came out October 31st on Crunchyroll, so I need to watch the Haikyuu.
Where do you
movie.
find these things?
Crunchyroll?
Crunchyroll?
Crunchyroll, like the sushi roll? Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a website, anime subscription. It's like
Oh.
$8 a month or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah,
right.
And
or
that's where you get all
14,
the-
I think, for the premium, where you don't have to watch commercials, which
Yeah.
is the way to go.
Oh, maybe that's how much I pay. I don't know. Anyway,
That's the one we
I
have on
gave
the
up-
Xbox.
Oh,
Ah, so you just have an app and it's just like a streaming service.
It's
Like
easy.
anything
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a streaming
Xbox is hooked up to the TV. Just watch
yeah.
everything through those.
What else am I watching right now?
I'm patiently awaiting the next season of Black Clover.
I wasn't into Black Clover, and I think that's because my ex liked Black Clover,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm never gonna get into Black.
My daughter started watching one, and then I sat down like 3 episodes in and got completely hooked into it, and then watched it like all the way through with her, called Bungo Stray Dogs.
Oh, I've been meaning to watch that one too.
It's so good.
There was somebody at Hollow Wolf, a volunteer or somebody who was
my
dressed.
daughter.
That was your daughter? Oh my gosh!
That was my daughter.
I was like, are you?
So our Hallowoof event, my kids were so excited. They're 11 and 13 to
Mm-hmm.
come participate and help and be a part of it. And so we set them up at the Pup Cup station doing the little refreshing, cool treats for the people bringing their dogs. And yeah, she wanted to dress up too. So she did her little costume.
That's cute.
That's awesome.
Doubles as cosplay.
I mistook her as a different
Yeah.
character from a different anime.
There's so many that look
Yeah.
similar to that exact
You're just wearing a.
white dress shirt and bandages
Yeah.
that could be in 50,000 different animes.
That really could be. You can't go wrong there. It's reusable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a good one.
Yeah.
You should watch it.
What was
I've
the
got
last
a
one called? It was
Bungo Stray Dogs. Bungou.
I laughed when she told me the name.
Yeah, I was like, what
really?
is
It's
bongo?
what-
I don't
yeah.
know. That
So-
makes me feel weird.
What is it
What
about?
is
What makes it so good?
The storytelling on a lot of the animes for me, where it's multiple backstories of people and then current stories going on and the way they weave things in and out and things come to a head. And with animes, there's a lot of talk of the story arc. So through the same series that could be 500 episodes, there'll be 8, 10, 12 different arcs where it's something that they have to triumph or overcome or work through or figure out, some kind of challenge or resistance. And then it's like, okay, another arc, introduce a new villain or challenge. And it does this. And for me, the ones that I get real into are the storytelling, where I'm like, I have to know what happens.
Right.
Like a good book you can't put down.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Those are the ones. But the more arcs they have for me, like that just turns me off. Like I don't have time to watch 900 episodes of One Piece.
I will patiently watch like an episode or two in an evening and just drag it out for
Oh my gosh,
as long as it takes.
I can't do that. I'm like, I know there are some, like, I actually never finished Shippuden. Like, I never finished Naruto
I've
Shippuden.
watched Shippuden like 3 times all the way.
One of my
It's like
cousins.
562 episodes.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But it's been out for almost 20 years.
Yeah, and it's it's pretty legendary. You go to the gym, you see enough people wearing Naruto things. So it's like, hey. But I'll never get there. One Piece, Bleach.
One Piece is over 1,000 episodes.
Is it over
I think.
1,000 now?
Something like that, yeah.
I thought they were still
It's
on
done
900.
though. So now maybe I'll start.
The manga's done? Or
I
the
think
show
the
is
series
done?
is done.
Wait,
I
I'm never
think
going
they
to
just
start.
finished it
Oh,
within the
crazy.
last year or so, yeah.
Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that.
Oh, and then the other one is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh, yeah.
So
Not
good.
not long on arcs. That one's only like 2 seasons long right now. But, the first season for JJK is like... Oh, actually, the group
JJK.
chat between me, Joe, and Jasmine is JJK, short for Jujutsu Kaisen. So, because Joe, Jasmine, Kathleen.
Yeah.
But they don't get that. But the first season of JJK is
don't-
like, it's cute, it's fun, and then the second season is just murder and pain, and it's crazy.
Yeah, they step on the gas and don't let up.
Yeah, they really don't. I remember season 1, everyone was so hyped for it. I'm like, for this? And then...
It's like the first season of Tokyo Ghoul
Oh.
is just an absolute standalone masterpiece.
Yeah.
And then it gets into the second and third season and it's like,
Yeah, it's like, oh.
I liked Futurama.
It's not far off of an anime, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of American cartoons are not like Adventure Time or what was the Disney one? Gravity Falls.
Oh, geez.
Gravity
when Patrick
Falls
can be
is
friends.
one of the
actually
funniest
really
shows.
enjoyed that show. Yeah,
It is
that's
so
right.
underrated and low key one of the funniest cartoons that's
Yeah.
ever been made.
My younger son is 10, and he started watching it, and then he started getting the books.
Yeah.
The manga? Oh, wait, that's Gravity Falls. They have I know what I'm talking about.
The
Never
book
mind.
with the numbers on
bill.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Patrick collects those.
He got one of those, and I was like, what a smart merchandising opportunity. I'm thinking about it from a marketing perspective. But then I got sucked into the show, and it is really funny.
Yeah, the writing is top notch.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to have to check out some anime so I can keep up with this conversation.
I'm just like, what do we bring him?
Yeah.
You know what?
What kind of movies do you like? Do you like adventure movies or comic book movies like Deadpool and Wolverine? Did you?
Yeah, I do. I was actually watching Deadpool and Wolverine last night again. But
It's the movie that we all would have made when we were like 11.
oh my goodness, like so full transparency. Joe hasn't seen it yet.
Hold on. I haven't seen it either.
Okay, Kathleen hasn't seen it either.
But
So
I don't care to see it, so
no,
you
I
can
know,
spoil.
but I don't want to spoil it for Joe because oh my goodness, it's I liked all of the Deadpools.
The soundtrack is so
Everything,
perfect.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I do probably have a man crush on Ryan Reynolds.
All men do.
I know. But like, I don't have a man crush on a lot of people, you know what I mean? But like, he's just like, I'm glad that he got to do Deadpool that way because it gave it the proper justice. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? He got to.
It's true to the comic book.
You're talking in the past tense. I feel like somebody dies, but don't tell me nothing.
No.
I don't think they'll do another
all right.
one.
I don't think they will either.
Oh.
Those I'm used to them coming out in trilogies, and that was his third.
Oh.
And
Never
everybody
worked
knows
into
his-
the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and
Yeah.
that's in phase whatever now, 4
Yeah.
or 5.
Disney is smart. They're going to keep that thing churning and burning forever, just like they're going to do with Star Wars. As long as they can make a buck on it, they're going to.
And Spider-Man trilogies every
Yeah.
every 8 years or so.
Yeah. Just reboot them and go over again. Right, Jasmine? I don't think we've touched on a single topic that Jasmine's been interested in.
Okay, I realized that I've
She said Hunter X Hunter with the hard X.
Really? That's the only anime.
It's Hunter Hunter.
Hunter.
We go off on tangents
Even
because
I
we were
knew
talking
that.
about anime, what
were.
we should bring him, and then we're like, well, what kind of movies do you like? So we can narrow it
And then
down.
we get into Deadpool.
If you like action and comic book hero stuff, I would think something like My Hero Academia,
Yeah, that's true.
Shippuden, Black Clover, because those are
My thing was when people get into anime, I like to start them short. That way they don't feel like they have to invest into something.
you don't want to do like Berserk or Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Who wants to go through that pain? I got my youngest brother into anime, which is wild because I've watched anime for like the majority of my life, and it took my youngest brother 21 years to get into anime.
Wow.
So
My Hero Academia is probably a good
It's
one. It's
pretty
very
good.
palatable.
yeah,
My Hero Academia.
yeah, it's about this kid who like. Well, it's like this world where everybody develops these quirks, which are essentially like superpowers. Like you can do things, and then the main character is this kid who doesn't have anything.
Oh.
So
He's born quirkless,
yeah,
and all he wants to do is be the greatest hero that ever was.
yeah.
Sure.
So
Cool.
I never finished it. There was
It's not done technically, but
I haven't caught up. I
Interesting.
guess I think I stopped on season 2. I was thinking Death Note because it's short. It's like 36 episodes, and it keeps you plot heavy, and it takes
Let's do
you.
it.
I watched like 2 episodes of that. I never finished it.
Shame,
Because you're too busy watching Hunter x Hunter.
because it makes you feel Catholic guilt.
It's the same thing over and over.
Well, it is until you get to the good parts. Give it like 4 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, Jasmine. We probably can't hear Jasmine. Can you hear Jasmine at all?
Oh, but Demon Slayer.
And I also stopped after like
Jasmine's talking about all the anime she hasn't watched.
I started.
Started watching and never finished.
I think Ryuk from Death Note makes for the most epic cosplay
He
ever.
does. Yeah, Ryuk is
Some
like
of the costumes people have made for that particular character,
crazy.
truly next level.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also very easy to cosplay. Not Ryuk, but like Light or like L, other characters from Death Note. But in Death Note, the premise
Also,
is
dress shirt, shaggy hair,
yeah.
slacks.
The premise in Death Note is like you have this kid, this super smart high school kid, like top of his class in all of Japan, stumbles upon this notebook that falls from the sky, and it basically says the person whose name you write in this Death Note will die. And so he has the power to kill people.
So there are gods of death called shinigamis in Japanese culture, and they each have their own book, and that's how they're like Grim Reapers essentially. And one, just for kicks, because it's bored, drops that book into the human world to see what'll happen. And
Interesting.
this kid finds it, and it's a thriller because
is.
there's a detective trying to figure out who the Death Note person is based on who's dying, and it's the ethical and moral dilemmas of how to use it. Can it be used for good?
Yeah.
And it's great.
It's so complex.
I was in junior high when I watched Death Note, so this might be Ben relevant because you're going through like your
Yeah.
who am I?
angst years.
Yeah, you're being angsty and you're like, who am I?
Not me,
What can
myself.
I what can I contribute to the world? What is good? What is bad? You know?
Cool.
So it's for me it was
So Death Note.
yeah. Like it's edgy when you're young, but then when you're an adult, you're kind of just like, oh, this kid is so cringe. Like, get over yourself, man. But anyways, Death Note for me is like what I would give to starter anime people.
Okay.
Just so they don't think of it anime as just, oh, it's just Pokemon, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cute, but it doesn't have to be cute.
Sure, it can be dark.
Yeah, like
Real.
little ghouls ripping off girls' heads.
It was a terrifying creature. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a ball that just like flies. It came out of nowhere. We have to do some Google search and see if we can find this thing.
Oh, we're going to track it down.
Yeah.
We got a reasonable date range
Yeah.
and a description of a scene.
I'm pretty sure I got a name mentioned in the credits. I'm
I've
almost 100%
IMDb'd you. You're not.
No, I'm not on IMDb. But
Kind of a big deal.
I don't know if you know this, Matt. I was an extra in an anime voiceover. Thank you. No, it wasn't much. But
No. Oh, you know, what if it's like a Junji Ito anime or manga? No, he didn't get any anime done until recently, right? I don't know. Junji Ito is like the horror manga guy.
You know what else is technically anime, but people don't think of it as anime, are all the Studio Ghibli movies, the Hayao Miyazaki movies. Have you seen any of those? Like Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, Ponyo.
There she
The
is.
Boy and the
Jasmine
Heron.
raises her hand.
We have an entire room in our house devoted. I guess it would be like a formal sitting room, but we have a cat tower and the dog crates are in that room. And we painted a life-size tree, and we got the fathead sticker of Totoro in there and
Cool.
on the wall. So it's like Totoro in the forest.
I love that's beautiful.
We found an artist on Etsy that did their own rendition of watercolor versions of the cover of all of the movies, and we framed them and have them up in order of release.
I need to see this. Oh my gosh, that sounds beautiful.
But that's all anime too, and very...
The Boy and the Heron, that one just dropped recently, and Robert Pattinson and who else?
Everybody does
It's like-
voiceover work
yeah.
in those. The
There's a lot
cast
of-
for the
there's-
American dubbing is
Phenomenal.
a who's who of
Yeah,
heavy
it was,
hitters.
Yeah, and Robert Pattinson was like crazy. He plays the Heron, and it was just like insane. He was not identifiable at all as
Really?
being who people would think he is. It was a very what's the name of that actor? One dude, Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, very Willem Dafoe. It was Arpats playing Willem Dafoe, playing a crazy old man, playing a heron. So
Right on.
yeah,
Okay.
Those
Yeah.
are good gateway
you're right.
into anime.
They are.
Spirited Away is
Spirited Away was like my first.
that's a
anime movie.
masterpiece
Yeah, gorgeous.
of a movie. And then all of the Miyazaki movies are interesting as not just for entertainment value, but they all deal with cultural and time appropriate issues in Japan, like Pompoko with the raccoon dogs is talking about the underlying theme of it is expansion of industry and homes eating into nature and displacing animals, and what does that look like? But it's a cartoon.
Yeah.
The kids watch it and they're like, oh, that was great. And then you watch it as an adult and you're like, it's heavy.
Yeah. Interesting.
And a lot of them are just coming of age stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the majority of them are just really gentle coming of age movies in which your main character is just going through some very light dilemma, and it's just growth slowly. And then by the end of it, you're like, what was the political implication of Howl's Moving Castle? What did that mean? Like toward the end, you're just kind of like,
Yeah,
did we
Howl's
get
Moving
here?
Castle is great too. All of them are good.
yeah. I actually wore my Howl shirt earlier this week.
We have a lot of names from those movies for our pets.
Let's talk
We
cats.
have a Sophie. After Sophie had her, we had a Calcifer. He was our old man, our first rescue.
Is he an orange
We've
cat?
got a Muta from Cat Returns. We got
I love that.
Are your cats named after anime characters?
No, they're just named after things.
Oh.
I don't know what to say. Boba's named after either the drink or Fett. I don't know, whatever your
we have a
preference
Mochi
is.
and a Taro.
Yeah. Zazzles isn't my cat. Zazzles is Patrick's cat, but Zazzles is my cat now. But Zazzles is named Zazzles because she's not very zazzly. She has a very
She's not
RBF look.
Zazzly?
Yeah, she just, the name Zazzles, you think, I'm a pretty princess. But
Oh, I see.
she's
I
the
see.
complete opposite. She's just deadpanning all day. And then Ashes came out of nowhere. Just this goblin.
Just a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just a lost little kitten in the street calling for mom and dad. And it's me. It's me and Patrick. Yep.
That's adorable.
Yeah, just now we have cats.
My dog is named after one of my favorite folk artists, Townes Van
Townes.
Zandt. But the cats, I think Deanna named, because she was like, after Townes, she was like, you don't get to do this again. I'm choosing them all now.
But Towns is a cool name.
Yeah, no.
not like you named him-
not
named
the
him
name.
Megatron or something.
He was a little psychotic the first year. He was a lot.
Oh.
Very energetic. He was rescued, but he was a puppy, and he's half Schnauzer, half Terrier, and so like real high energy, real intelligent, real protective.
Needs a job. They
hates
got to have
men.
something to do.
And so it took us a long time to figure out, one, we don't know anything about raising dogs, and two, this is just how he is, And so over the course of that first year, we got Lily, the other dog. We got the cats first. And then we got Lily, and she was like, you don't get to pick any of these because Towns was my choice. And he is my dog, but he's the only one that I've named. And the only one that has, otherwise, like Lily would have been Emmylou for Emmylou Harris,
Yeah, wouldn't have gotten that.
another folk artist. And then I don't know what Chester and Daphne would have been. Chester lays on your chest, so he's got to be Chester.
Oh, I
It's
thought you
just-
named him after like the Cheeto.
No. He's definitely not like he's also, he has the RBF. Like he just like has a frown, like deadpan.
I've actually never met Chester.
He doesn't
He's
come
elusive.
out. Yeah.
He's a discerning
hides.
gentleman.
He he's very good at disappearing. And sometimes I'm like, he got outside. He had to have gotten outside. And then he's like stuffed behind something, just like, I'm not coming out. I'm
Have
gonna
you
stay
tried
right
the
here.
pheromones?
Yeah.
Because we had a cat that I swear the first 2 years it lived, and we got it as a kitten, rescued it. I swear it lived under the bed the first 2 years. And then we tried one of those pheromones plugins, and it was like a switch flipped, and you wouldn't think it was the same cat. It's just out all day, every day now, sleeping on the bed with us at night, hanging out with us on the couch in the evenings. And it was definitively, that was the difference.
He'll come out when it's just us, but the second a stranger walks through the door, and even people that come over regularly, like my mother-in-law comes over and he's like, nope, I'm out. And if they stay for more than half an hour, he'll like, all right, I'm gonna, but like we have,
But he's watching you.
yeah, he'll keep his distance and like, man, I don't know about all that. I'm gonna stay over here. But people, like, if we go out of town, will watch the pets for us. There's only one person. We have this babysitter, and she'll pet sit for us. And I'm pretty sure he likes her more than he likes any of us. For whatever reason, like, he attached to her.
Does she send you pictures while you're on vacation? He's just loving on her, and you're like, you don't do that with us?
Yeah, no, like, she came over the other day, and he was, like, at her feet meowing and walking all around her. And I'm like, what the, like, how? I don't, and there's something about, they just connect somehow. And so we tried pheromones, didn't make any difference, but he's just the cat he's going to be. We've finally accepted, like, our pets are just, our dogs just
They're
kind
like
of a
people. They
jerk.
all have their own individual personalities.
They do, and they're very, everyone's unique, It's pretty fun to watch.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because, you're the animal services guy.
Yeah.
My cat screams at me while I'm in the shower. What does that mean?
Either it's concerned that you're in some kind of danger, or just it doesn't like there being a closed door and it doesn't have access to you.
Oh, no, she just opens the door and screams at me from the toilet.
Probably concerned.
It's water. I take one every day.
So I've heard, I don't know if this is true or not, correct me if I'm wrong, that cats in the wild don't, like, they meow for our benefit, not...
They don't meow at each other. Huh. And purring is a weird thing where they don't purr with each other or to their mom when they're kittens. They purr to us, like mimicking a baby thing, care for me.
Fascinating.
I am loved.
You are.
Yeah.
My cats love me.
And they're concerned about you. You're drowning in there.
I did
Get
hear
out.
a thing where, like, if cats lay on a certain part of your body, they are detecting something. So lately, Zazzle has been sleeping on my left shoulder, which, as a lifter, is like the worst thing ever. Like when you're benching, it's always the left shoulder that gives out. So she's healing my left shoulder. Thank you,
Well-
Keep
Zazzles.
those elbows in.
Yeah,
When,
you do.
when I
Those
got
elbows in.
when I got my first COVID vaccine, I felt sick. I lay down in bed, and Chester, no joke, came. He's like 13, 14 pounds.
He's hefty.
Yeah. He laid like right at the base of my neck, as tight as he could across my chest. And I was like, this is not helping.
He
I
thinks
really
he's
appreciate
helping.
He thought, and I didn't move him because he was thinking he was doing a good job, but I had like, I was feeling terrible and had a 13-pound meat blanket, like, but he was trying to be helpful.
We have one we call Empathy Cat. It's Sasuke.
Sasuke's your
in
empathy
Naruto.
cat?
Yeah, he's
The least
like
empathetic
a same,
character.
similar, like 12, 13 pound. He's a black cat with green eyes. He's like a little panther cruising around the house. But anytime somebody yells in the house, it doesn't matter where he is. He appears in that room where the yell occurred and just meowing as loud as he can, like, hey guys, stop. And it literally is just like us downstairs yelling up to the second floor, landing like, hey, dinner's ready. But just any raised voice for any reason, he just appears and is like, meow, meow, meow. Like,
Tearing this family
stop.
apart.
Yeah, it's so funny. Or anybody in the house, if they're bummed or stressed, like if one of the kids has a test coming up and they're stressed, or we got something going on for work and we're just like really like lost in contemplation, he'll just appear like next to you and just like you got this almost.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's our dog. We do have an animal named after an anime character. Patrick named his dog after Nami from One Piece, I think, or maybe he just liked the name. I don't know. But she's our empathy pet. Like, we are never yelling per se, but the second the cats get into it, she'll just like get up and be like, "Excuse me, hello, no more of this." And the cats don't like her because she's a big, large dog, so they're like, "I'm dispersing. I don't want to deal with the dog." Boof.
Cats rule the house for sure.
Yeah.
We have 2 big dogs, and the cats own that place.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
they all hang out together, but
So you're obviously an animal person.
yeah.
So you have pets. You work in animal services. Like I said, we like to in these conversations with why, like your motivation. Obviously, you have a penchant for public service, as you've proven, and now in animal services. What do you think? I mean, what's your motivation every day? What gets you? Why do you take care of animals all the time? That's such a hard job.
I'm very passionate about community service and animals, and working in animal services definitely blends both of those together and creates a career that's fulfilling in like every aspect for me personally.
Is it kind of soothing coming in every day and like getting to pet an animal? And
It's not a bad gig to be like, oh, I'm stressed out, I'm going to take a walk, and you can go and cuddle with a pile of kittens, or go throw a leash on a dog and go into a play yard and throw a tennis ball with them and love on them and hang out, and then like, good to go, I'm fresh now, and you can go back in and focus on whatever.
That's an amazing calling.
And they
What a unique
get
skill
something,
set.
they get as much out of it as you do, because they get
Yeah.
that socialization and attention that they all need to.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if people want to adopt a pet, they go to the Sherry D. Coleman Animal Control and Adoption Center, right? Or they're all on the website and everything too, right?
Correct,
Like,
yeah. Every animal that comes into the shelter, we post their picture on our Facebook. Once we've put their picture in our system, it also is linked with 24 Pet Connect and our website on our section under the police department on PearlandTX.gov.
Awesome.
You can find it, see pictures of all our available animals, our Facebook. You can come in Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. We're open.
Always have cats. Always have
Always
dogs.
have cats, always have
Sometimes have
dogs.
goats.
Yeah, every once in a while we get some small furries too,
Yeah.
whether it be some rabbits or the random chinchilla that comes through.
I guess I need to go by there more often and just see the stuff that's there.
And I mean, people are not obligated to adopt when they come in. Everybody's more than welcome to just come in and hang out with some animals if they want to.
Yeah, I'm sure that
Get
the
a
animals
dog.
like the attention.
Yeah, play with them. We have any number of volunteer opportunities as well, where we put on an orientation monthly for people and give them a tour, and you can sign up online for slots. We make it real easy. You can come in, wash dogs, walk dogs. We have a full bathing station, grooming stuff. If you want to help us out folding laundry and refilling some of the cabinets, or you want to wash some dog bowls and fill them to get ready for afternoon feeding, any number of things.
Wow.
Help
Very
out with
cool.
off-site adoption events, because we do Pet Supplies Plus, the farmers market.
Yeah,
We
you
have
take
a-
the trailer, your mobile trailer out there.
Yeah, we have a wonderful group of volunteers, and there's now a 501c3 Pause for Pearland assists us with a lot of that.
Awesome. All right.
The community engagement is a huge factor
Yeah.
and driving force too. Like, the more they get to know us and the more visible we are, obviously it doesn't just help with, more donations and more volunteering, but the more visible we are in the community, the more trust there is that, hey, I need help, can you help me? And we're there for them. The more, if someone's ready to adopt an animal, we can be the first place that comes to mind as their go-to for, they always have available animals, and they'll help me, make the right choice and find the right fit.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thankful for the community we have. It's partly
Every
for that
day.
reason, because they show up in big ways, especially for things like animal services and PD. Generally speaking, I'm thankful for that relationship we have. But it's a source of pride for sure.
Yeah. the staff too, how all the departments and divisions and sections within the city all work together and get along, and it's one big team working towards a common goal is a huge factor for me in Pearland.
Yeah, I made the comment earlier today, talking with the mayor. We were talking about, everybody has the people, 930 employees, and each one has a swim lane, but we all work together. We're all rowing in the same direction. And the other day I made a comment about the teeth on a gear. You break some of the teeth off, the gear doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Our organization's just the same. We don't have warm bodies and seats. We need everybody to show up and do their work. And it's crazy to think about how varied each of our skill sets are, and yet how much they have
all
to work.
complement each other, though.
Yeah. And that was the point that I made to the mayor, is that we are a people-based organization. And I don't think there's anything as complicated from a business management perspective as managing a big group of people. You know what I mean? Like, you manufacture products, you're going to have, hiccups in production lines and in R&D and in material sourcing and things like that. But people are much more complex than any machine or anything like that. So it's always impressive that we're capable of doing the things that we're doing. And it's because of, people like you and, everybody that shows up and commits to it every single day. So we thank you for it. And thanks for letting us pet the dogs and cats.
Yeah,
That's always fun,
absolutely. I appreciate it.
And for the anime recommendations. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Kathleen,
ease
you got
them in.
anything?
No, just thanks for everything you do. We had a great conversation yesterday just talking about how we can elevate the
Visibility.
the visibility of animal services. So really excited to be doing the things going forward. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all go check them out. Go pet a dog or a cat and maybe take one home. You never know.
Yeah, come visit us.
All right, we'll see you next time, Pearland. Thanks for listening.